This is the all-new 2022 Nissan Terra VL 4x4. This is the top-of-the-line model, and in this video, we'll talk about the features, we'll compare to the VL 4x2, and also to the Toyota Fortuner LTD. So, is it worth our money? Let's find out. Like I said in my previous video, this is a very extensive facelift. Almost the entire front end has been changed. It now gets a new hood, a new grille, a new bumper, also new fenders, and new headlights. By the way, these are quad projector LED headlights, and all variants of the Terra will now come with these headlights. The EL, which is the base model, the VE, and the VL will now come with these headlights. The new V-Motion grille is bigger. The hood is different, less aggressively styled. You have these ridges on the hood which connect with the grille, and they're a lot more subtle now compared to the old Terra. On the old Terra, these ridges were higher, which made it look more macho, but also it obstructed visibility at the front. So this new hood is a bit more subtle, perhaps a bit less macho looking, but it also provides better visibility. So down here you get these LED fog lamps. You get a faux skid plate down here. On the outside, the VL 4x4 and the VL 4x2 look almost identical, except the 4x4 comes with a 4x4 badge at the back. From the side, it looks almost the same as the old Terra. You still get these muscular fender flares. So one thing that's changed is this new garnish over here. It's finished in chrome and also gloss black. There is no badging. I mean, you'd expect to see some badging there, but there is no badging. You get new wheels. These are still 18-inch wheels, but they're a different design. All variants of the Terra will now come with 18-inch wheels. So one thing that's changed on the new Terra VL is that it now comes with disc brakes at the back. The VE and the EL still come with drum brakes though. At the back, the new Terra gets new LED headlights. The turn indicators though are still halogens. So the rear garnish has been redesigned. It now arches over the Terra badge. All variants of the Terra still come with a manual liftgate.
Under the hood, there aren't many changes. The new Terra still gets the same 2.5-liter engine that produces 190 horsepower and 450 Nm of torque. And
the interior of the VL 4x4 looks
transmission.
Almost the same as the VL 4x2,
except that you get this knob over here, which is your drive mode selector. I have to apologize, I said in my last video that the VL 4x2 doesn't come with a wireless phone charger. So apparently it does. You can charge your phone here. So yeah, like I said in my previous video, I think this is the best upgrade on the new Terra. This interior looks a lot better compared to the old model. It definitely looks a lot more premium. So this is leather wrapped. This is hard plastic. You get a leather wrapped steering wheel, the same steering wheel as on the new Navara. You got buttons for your infotainment screen, also for your cruise control. By the way, the Nissan Terra 4x4 doesn't get adaptive cruise control. It only gets standard cruise control. So this is leather wrapped. The padding is not very thick though. It's quite firm, but it's still a good place to rest your knee or your shin during long drives. So over here you get a 12-volt outlet. You get one USB-C port, one standard USB port. Over here is your controls for the rear aircon. You get dual zone climate control. And you get this new 9-inch screen. So this is definitely an upgrade compared to the older model. You got Apple CarPlay, you got Android Auto, and you also get a surround view camera. You also have sensors all around the car, and you can choose from different camera angles. You also get navigation. Although if you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you don't really need navigation because you can just use Waze. Thankfully, you get a volume knob and also a tuning knob. So you got an analog speedometer, analog tachometer, you got this 7-inch screen at the center. Yeah, so it's a much nicer looking interior now. I'd say this would be among my top 3 in terms of interior quality. So Nissan's intelligent mobility system is now standard on all variants of the Terra. So you get lane departure warning, you get rear cross traffic alert, you get blind spot warning, and you get automatic emergency braking. Now I think that's a very important feature, and I'm glad that now most top of the line PPVs come with that feature. The Everest by Turbo, the Toyota Fortuner LTD, the Montero GT 4x4, and now the Nissan Terra 4x4 all have automatic emergency braking. One thing that's missing on the new Terra though is adaptive cruise control. So the driver's seat is 10-way power adjustable. It also has lumbar support, which is something that I really appreciate. As you get older, lumbar support becomes more important. As for headroom, I have about this much headroom. It comes with an electronic parking brake, but it doesn't have auto hold. You can tumble the second row seats with a flick of a button. It comes with a differential lock. Very useful when off-roading. Okay, so I'm at the second row seat now. So the seats can be reclined, as you can see. It can be reclined by this much. So over here you have one USB port and one USB-C port. And you also get 2 air vents. Up here you get this 10-inch screen. So you have 2 air vents up here. You have your fan speed controls up here. The third row of the Terra VL 4x4 is the same as the VL 4x2. I fit, but it's not the most comfortable seating position out there. My feet are raised up quite a bit, but headroom is okay, and I have a bit of knee room. Also, I find it a bit more spacious than the third row of the Fortuner. Okay, so we're now driving the Nissan Terra VL. First impressions, it is a bit more quiet than the MUX. You don't hear the engine as much. Steering is a bit heavier. You do feel the Terra's size and weight when you're driving it, and I think that's mostly because of the steering. It has one of the heaviest in the segment, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're driving a large vehicle like this. It gives you a better sense of the vehicle's size, and it gives you a better sense of what your front wheels are doing. Besides, it's not really difficult to turn, it's just not as soft as some of its competitors, especially the Ford Everest. The Nissan Terra suspension is among the softest in the segment, which translates to better ride quality when you're going over rough roads. The trade-off is that you get a bit more body roll. But if you're going to drive the Terra conservatively, which I think 90% of its buyers would, you're not going to notice it. Power is pretty decent. 0 to 60 kph just takes a little over 5 seconds. 60 now. Let's do a 0 to 60. 40, 60.
To 100 kph, it should take around 9.5 seconds, which is about the same as the new MUX. Okay, so I'm now sitting at the second row seat, and thanks to boards of Nissan Pacific for letting me experience what it's like riding here. It's not a bad place to be. The ride is just as good here. If I had to nitpick, there's just one thing. The seats don't have a lot of bolstering. They're pretty flat, so when you're on twisty roads, you tend to sway side to side a bit.
So what do I like about the new Terra? One would be the new interior. This looks a lot better compared to the old Terra. It now looks more premium. And number two, I like the fact that it has automatic emergency braking now. I think this is a feature that should be standard in more cars nowadays because it significantly increases safety. It doesn't just protect you when an accident happens, it actually prevents accidents from happening in the first place. Number three, I like the fact that it has differential lock. I haven't driven this off-road yet, but with differential lock, I'd feel a bit more confident taking this thing off-road. Number four, I like the tumbling second row seats. Because we're all lazy nowadays and having to tumble the second row seats manually is such a hassle. Number four would be the 360 camera. If you're driving a vehicle of this size, having a 360 camera definitely helps. And in the segment, currently only the Toyota Fortuner LTD, the Montero GT 4x4, and the Nissan Terra VL have a 360 camera. As for the things that I don't like, number one would be the lack of a power tailgate. Almost every top-of-the-line PPV has a power tailgate nowadays, and I'm not sure why Nissan didn't include a power tailgate on the Nissan Terra. And number two would be the lack of adaptive cruise control. Now the vehicle already has a radar system, it has an automatic emergency braking system, so it is a bit unusual that it doesn't get adaptive cruise control since it has the hardware already. It seems like it just needs a minor tweak for adaptive cruise control to work.
Compared to the Toyota Fortuner LTD, the Terra has a larger screen, it has higher resolution cameras, it has more cargo space, and generally it is more spacious. It has better ride quality, and it's also priced lower. It's more than 100,000 pesos lower than the price of the Toyota Fortuner LTD. The advantage of the Fortuner is that it has adaptive cruise, it has a power liftgate, it has ventilated seats, and it has slightly more power. Just slightly though.
So compared to the Toyota Fortuner LTD, the Nissan Terra has a few drawbacks. Like it doesn't come with a power tailgate, it doesn't have adaptive cruise, but the Nissan Terra has a more usable third row. It's more spacious back there, you also get more cargo space, and the third row seats fold flat to the floor, so you can accommodate more luggage. And also the Terra VL 4x4 is almost 100,000 pesos cheaper than the Toyota Fortuner LTD. So if you don't need adaptive cruise, if you don't need a power tailgate, then the Nissan Terra might give you more value for your money.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.